All right, peace family. This your brother Pyro. The name of this breakdown is called Superhero Symbolism and African Spirituality. Now, those amongst us that are practitioners of consciousness in as many streams, we know that the basis of a great majority of these comic book characters and movies, they hold seeds of truth that are rooted in African mythologies and ancient deities. Now, most of these have been rearranged, whitewashed, and cloaked. The master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, has a saying, and it states that movies are a way of informing the intelligent and entertaining the ignorant. A portion of truth within these films, it actually grabs the attention and it resonates within. Meanwhile, the subconscious programming, it seeps through right unnoticed. I mean, there's six-figure budgets going into the making of these films. I mean, all in an attempt to double the profits, but the grand prize is brainwashing and the manipulation of consciousness. So let's start with the character of the Green Lantern. Now, the Green Lantern is an intergalactic peacekeeper that belongs to a high council called the Lantern Corps. And his abilities they're highly psychic. You know, with the force of will and creativity, he can transform this green force into any construct that can be used for a defensive battle. I mean, his only limitations would be fear and his own mental blocks. Now, the council, the high council, even has an affirmation to this green source of energy that flows through the rings that they wear. Now, what's interesting in the research is amongst the Islamic mystic Sufis, they acknowledge the green essence of a deity called Al-Qadir. He's spoken about in the Quran. He's spoken about in the Bible, you know. And through mind intensity and focus, there's affirmation of channeling that energy to those practitioners. Also, in the teachings of alchemy, there's a mystic green language that personifies through rocks, minerals, plants, and animals. And this same green energy force is key, you know, so these are clearly melanated sciences. However, we're kept from them, and the mysteries are given to the elites, and they capitalize off of the symbolism from these ancient stories. All right. Next, let's take a look at Batman and the Joker. You know, he's billionaire, playboy. He deals with advanced technology, and he's a crime fighter. And as the story goes, he lost his parents as a child, and he swore vengeance. He fell into a cave one day playing as a child, and he learned to master his fear and use the tool of his fear as a weapon against his enemies. And at one point in time within his adult life, he was a part of an assassin brotherhood. I think they were called the League of Shadows. Now, when we look into ancient African stories again, you know, if we look into Kemet, we see Anubis or Anupu. And we see the same dark figure. You know, his role was the chief embalmer and mortician. And his temples were always in dark, you know, stones or caves. And he also dealt with metals and technology. And his priesthood were assassins. Now, some of Anubis's attributes were metallurgy, the studies of human anatomy. He was a warrior, and he was a mystic teacher. Now, the Joker is the arch nemesis of Batman, you know, and he's no other than Baron Samedi from the Haitian Voodoo. And Baron Samedi represents chaos, extreme indulgence, criminality, and sometimes being pushed beyond the boundaries of morality, just trying to survive, being trapped in the fetters of life. Okay, the next character would be Tony Stark, Iron Man, entrepreneur, arms dealer, and technological genius. You know, during one of his deals, he was trapped in a cave, and a device was built, and it was placed in his chest to keep the shrapnel from killing him. You know, at some point while he was in this cave, he had an epiphany and a change of heart, and he dedicated his life work to defending humanity as opposed to being an arms dealer. So from my research into the Congo ATRs and DTRs, African traditional religions, I ran across a deity called Ogun. Now, Ogun is the god of war, and this deals with iron, metal, and weaponry. He's a brilliant strategist, and he also deals with martial sciences. His colors are red, black, green, and gold. And this particular god is normally petitioned for ingenuity, strategy, and warfare. So the psychologist Carl Jung, he spoke a lot about archetypes. Archetypes, dominance, imagos, and primordial instincts. And his stance was that these symbols were innate, enamored within the consciousness of man. And so the characters and gods that each culture deals with has a correspondence on a subconscious level with these symbols. Now, in his book, Man and His Symbol, Carl Jung, Man and His Symbol, I noticed that a great deal of the field work, it was done in the African Congo. Now, being that these archetypes influence the subconscious mind, and the images are all Greco-Roman because they're definitely not, melanated or black, they have a twofold effect. Now, one would be the upliftment of white supremacy and the suppressions of Africans. The other is to capitalize off of our indigenous melanated culture and sciences. So as a conscious melanated God being, we have to reclaim our ancient symbols and deities and invoke them through attribute correspondence and enlightenment. Superhero symbolism and African spirituality. Peace.